Clearly, the government is now listening in terms of the issues which have been raised by chambers such as ours. This is the development of human capital, and I'm pleased to acknowledge that this is now a key theme within the government. It's clearly important in the current economic uncertainty that industry and government work ever closely and more closely together towards achieving common goals. Through the establishment of the various sectoral committees, we believe that EU-MCCI is assisting this process through strong engagement with various government agencies and ministries. We are proud of the good cooperation we share, and indeed invite our members to take advantage of the platforms offered by these committees. The EU-MCCI team have worked hard in various areas throughout the year, especially focusing on the services sectors, including those that I've already mentioned, as well as financial services. And this has actually been through the EU co-funded project, which is enhancing dialogue and business cooperation in the services sector. And indeed, we thank the EU delegation for their support. However, our sectoral committees cover a number of other areas. This includes intellectual property, corporate social responsibility, aerospace, defence and security, wines and spirits, oil and gas, healthcare, construction, as well as HR development and education. In support of HR development, we have been launching a program working together with Training Path for Malaysian Institute of Management to actually tailor-make courses to actually improve the training programs within our membership. Throughout the day, you'll actually hear from many of our distinguished speakers. And we are delighted to welcome Dr. Rebecca here again this morning, who is the Secretary General for the Malaysian International Trade and Industry. We also welcome Mr. Pascal Kerneis from the European Services Forum, who is our partner as part of this program. Mr. Pang, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer for MITI, and Dr. Fazal from Pemandu, and many other seniors from government and industry. Today we will cover a range of subjects, including generating trade in growth areas, the ASEAN financial outlook, using ICT as an enabler for growth, as well as trade and investment opportunities in the manufacturing and services sectors. The publication launched today of the Trade Issues and Recommendations publication offers guidance for both existing and potential investors to ensure a more conducive environment for business. The launch of this document would not be possible had it not been for the support of each of the 14 sectoral committees that we currently run. And I'd like to especially thank the chairs and deputy chairs and indeed the committee members within those sectoral committees for their support and all of the effort they've put in. In fact, they've held 60 meetings over the past year, and we've actually had 67 stakeholder meetings. So you can see that the actual amount of effort that actually goes in as part of those committees. Our Chamber will continue to focus on business-related issues, working together with the government, the European Commission, member states, and member companies in order to enhance bilateral trade and investment. We hope through events such as these, which is actually our main event of the year in terms of looking at bilateral trade and investment in the country, and our continuing dialogue with MITI, MIDA, MATRADE, the Ministry of Higher Education, and many other government departments and bodies, that we will receive continued cooperation. So on this note, I wish to thank MITI, MIDA, MATRADE, and Pemandu for their support and contribution towards this event. I also wish to acknowledge the support of the EU delegation and the significant efforts of the EU-MCCI team for putting together this publication and indeed the event today. My sincere thanks also to our platinum corporate partners, which are mentioned here, Qatar Airways and Siemens, and my sincere thanks to you as well for attending this key event. Your support is very important to us. So on this note, may I wish you a fruitful and worthwhile day. Thank you very much.
Dear colleagues, the Malaysia Trade Forum also sees the launch of the 2012 Trade Issues and Recommendations book. And it's very much thanks to this publication that with its very broad sectoral coverage, that the EU-MCCI has become an authoritative voice of European businesses, but also Malaysian businesses in Malaysia. The book, in my view, is indispensable in the way it describes the proposals for strengthening the EU-Malaysian trade relationship. And in the spirit of promoting bilateral ties, I'm happy to speak here this morning. The EU-Malaysia trade relation is a strong one and a good one. 2011 was yet another record year for the EU and Malaysia. The total value of our exports grew by about 4%, and in other words, we now stand at 33 billion euros worth of trade two ways. That is roughly 130 billion ringgit. That is the highest bilateral trade volume that we've ever had. Last year, the EU was the third largest investor in the manufacturing sector, with about close to €1 billion worth of approved investment projects. And this indicates indeed the strength and the resilience of the EU-Malaysia trade relationship, even in times of relative economic uncertainty. The strength of our relationship is a reflection of fundamental facts that we sometimes need to be reminded of ourselves. And despite what pessimistic analysts forecast, Malaysia continues to enjoy vigorous economic growth and dynamism driven by domestic demand as well as domestic and foreign investment. On its side, the European Union remains the largest trading bloc in the world, with a technologically highly advanced industrial base and with, of course, our single market with 500 million consumers. With only 7% of the world's population, the EU generates more than 20% of the world's GDP, bigger than any other economic bloc in the world. Of course, the EU will have its economic agenda, a domestic economic agenda, in the year 2012, and we will deliver on it. But we do believe that the solution to our economic challenges lies not in closing up new protectionism, but in staying engaged with the world. We're a union of 27 member states, soon to be 38, founded on the idea to bring peace and prosperity through openness, through cooperation and through trade. And that's why we want to emphasize our commitment to continue engaging with our long-standing partners, and that includes Malaysia. One aspect of our commitment is illustrated by the many cooperation projects we have in Malaysia. This year, the EU and Malaysia cooperate in a total of 36 projects, ranging from the environment, from human rights, higher education and RTD. Malaysia receives about 11 million euros, 44 million ringgit, from the EU in the form of bilateral cooperation projects. And in addition, Malaysia also participated in a variety of regional and international projects that are worth 96 million euros, 420 million ringgit. Examples of these projects are many, but I'll single out just a few. Just earlier this week, the EU-MCCI, under an EU-funded project, launched the logistics map of Malaysia, a fantastic practical tool that will help greatly benefit foreign investors, but maybe also domestic ones, in making their investment choices. We also got the so-called Clean Batik initiative run by the German Chamber of Commerce that helps batik SMEs in Kelantan and Terengganu to produce batik that is colorful but at the same time green, and that also help it make safer for the workers. And let me also mention the project for the sustainable production of biomass, a project that helps SMEs in improving their production processes and to assist them in the commercialization of their projects on the domestic or international market. Just goes to show that we don't just negotiate agreements with Malaysia, but we also contribute to, with our technical expertise and funding, to help Malaysian firms unlock their domestic growth opportunities as well as those abroad. In the wider perspective, our cooperation efforts show that the EU and Malaysia recognize that investing in knowledge and innovation is crucial for creating a high added value economy, for realizing the long-term goal of transforming Malaysia into a high-income economy. But at the end of the day, cooperation alone can't act as a catalyst for investment in high-added, value-added industries. Leveraging this type of knowledge-intensive investment on a larger scale involves attracting companies operating at a technological frontier. And to be able to entice the right kind of investor to come to Malaysia, further strengthening of the investment climate is needed. Investors need more market access, more transparency, clearer and better rules, as well as a level playing field. And if this can be formalized in a bilateral agreement, it builds the trust that is necessary for disseminating knowledge, for technology transfer, and for localized R&D activities, allowing Malaysia to climb the technological ladder. We've got free trade agreement, FTA negotiation ongoing, and they constitute a very promising platform for conducting discussions on how to make these improvements. I'm glad to say that we've made good progress over the last 7 rounds, and of course, yes, we will have a number of tough subjects to address, but the EU side remains very optimistic that we will deliver what we set out to achieve. We enjoy top-level government support on both sides, as well as strong industry interest in both Malaysia and the EU, and that continues to motivate and push us through this progress ahead. In fact, there is also movement at the ASEAN level as a whole. At the ASEAN-EU Economic Ministers meeting just a few weeks ago in Phnom Penh, the EU and Vietnam also finalized preparations for starting negotiation on a bilateral FTA. And we do see these bilateral FTAs with Malaysia, with Singapore, and with Vietnam, and possibly others, as part of our overall and longer-term objective of building a region-to-region free trade framework. And that's why all these bilateral agreements will have a common backbone. In conclusion, I would like to emphasize that the EU-Malaysian relationship is strong, resilient, and multifaceted. In 2012, as we reached bilateral agreements in the area of trade, but also in the area of political cooperation, EU-Malaysia relations